By way of introducing this event this afternoon, a life in agriculture, which is the theme, a life in agriculture. On my immediate right here is Mr. Beni Sankar, and on his right is Mr. Arnon Adams, who will be interviewing him.
He's going back. He's going back.
For those who live in Georgetown, farming is a bit of an abstraction. City folk have little experience of muddy fields, the annual cycle of growth and harvest, failing or flourishing crops, and the multiple challenges faced by farming communities across the country. With due apologies to all of you here who are farmers in your own right. But travel a few miles outside of the city, and it becomes apparent that agriculture is still the bedrock of many rural communities in this country. It is in fact at the center of their lives, and it is now undergoing a period of upheaval. In recent months, Moray House Trust, which is the trust that manages this facility, which has been, in a sense, bequeathed by the De Caries family as an oasis for intellectual ferment, for a common space where people can come and speak and communicate and advertise and display without fear of any recriminations. So the Trust has tried to focus on some of the issues that face rural communities. In particular, those engaged in the cultivation of sugar and rice. We already had one discussion on sugar. Where change is afoot, meaning those activities or those enterprises where change is afoot and challenges abound. It is in this spirit that we welcome the opportunity to invite Mr. Beni Sankar to share some of his experiences as a man of the soil. Beni comes from a very distinguished family of rice cultivators and mill owners. In the last decade, he has ventured into aquaculture, breeding tilapia and hassa, and is now firmly focused on the cultivation and processing of coconuts. He embodies some of the concepts now in vogue in among technocrats and planners, words such as diversification and phrases such as adaptation to prevailing markets. This conversation is part of an ongoing series of interviews with local experts, social commentators, and writers, organized by the Trust, and in particular engineered by Isabel De Caries, the chair of the Trust, organized over the years with the aim of interrogating ideas and promoting debate in our society. Previous participants include Brother Yuzi Kwayana, Dr. Rupert Rupnarain, Raul Bhattacharya, and Clive Lloyd. Our thanks go to Arnon, Mr. Arnon Adams, the editor of the Stabroek Business Supplement, for conducting this interview. There will be an introduction, but those of you who know Beni, he needs no introduction. He comes from a family that has, as I said, been very much involved in agriculture over many years. I had the privilege of knowing his father, Uncle Beni Sankar, Arrow of Achievement. I remember one of my young officers, when he first saw Mr. Sankar for the first time, coming off an aircraft at Ogle Airstrip, said to me, "Chief, when you look at that man and how he walks, you could feel the ground shake." Right? You know,
Okay.
Mr. Sankar, first of all, I want to thank you for your contributions over the years, but I want to ask you a question. I don't know if it's a fantasy or what, but I think my question is it possible for Guyana to start investing more in not just selling raw rice, but maybe probably producing, we have basmati rice and some different prices. Maybe we can actually create packages like the rice without coconut or maybe some powder rice or something. Wouldn't that be able to help our rice market more than rice more often? Help us to get some more off the market?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, Guyana, about 400 million tons of rice is being produced in the world today. Of that, only 4% is being traded in the world market. Guyana is unique. We trade 75% of our rice because of our small population. I believe in evolution. Things don't happen, bam, just like that. It takes time. Right now in Guyana, we can use, a lot of the guys are doing white rice, cargo rice, which is the brown rice, and they're doing parboiled rice, right? The white rice and the parboiled are okay. The cargo rice, that is not value added. I think we can develop things like our fish industry, our livestock industry now, because if we go into those technical stories, you see Uncle Ben and them doing this thing, right? But it costs a lot of money. I don't think we're ready for that yet. I want us to settle down a little bit more, but there is things that we can do with our byproducts. We can sell our rice very easily also. You know, one thing had happened, we mess around with our markets. At one time we were in the Caribbean, then we went to Europe. So when we came back to the Caribbean, the guys say, hey, we want to hear from you. Petro-Caribbean thing, Jamaica, it's happening in the Caribbean now. So we tend to jump from one place to the next, which is not the way to go. We got to be more conscientious and think there, you know.
I have two questions, Mr. Sankar. First one relates to diversification in the sugar industry. As you know, it's widely discussed. In your opinion, as an experienced farmer, what are the options for that diversification away from sugar? Is it aquaculture or fish farming? I'd like to hear your opinion on what those options are sold across the world. Is coconut water an option for the industry?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I would hate to see the coconut water industry die. There's space for everybody. Coconut water, oil, coconut flour, everything. Because as I said, evolution. We have some things here already. As we move it forward, like in the fish. People ask me if I ain't going abroad to sell the fish. No, because I got a market here, so I gradually go up. But in the meantime, I'm looking. In the sugar industry, I sorry I didn't come to the one on sugar too. You know what? We got to empower the poor people. Empower the little man who is working in the sugar estate. Empower them. That's the only way we can get a lot of respect and a lot of discipline in the system. Otherwise, it's free for all. Give these guys 25 acre of land, right? Or 20 acre, how much is ideal. And let them go and farm, right? Not in all the estates. I still think that there is market for a certain amount of sugar. We have some good markets, so we should stay with. And we invested a lot of money in Skelland and the thing at Enmore or where the packaging plant. So we can't throw away that. Let us consolidate, empower the people, and let us go. You know?